All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about something a little different than the Houston Rockets. I get asked this question quite a bit in my streams, in my premieres, just in comments. I see it on Twitter all the time. Everyone always wants to talk about Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Now, clearly, if you know, they got blown out by the Nets in the first game, and they got blown out in their second game against the Bucks. They both were on national TV. Very, very tough to watch. Now, personally, the defense is looking real bad too, but we won't get into that first. First off, I want to just talk about the team, because as a team, they played horribly. And Steph Curry, even after this Milwaukee Bucks game, called out his teammates on their lack of IQ. And I kind of picked up on this quite a bit when I was watching the game. For example, Steph Curry will do a little give and go and head to the corner. Clearly, he wants the ball. He's going to shoot a three. We all have been watching the Warriors for the last couple of years. We know how Steph Curry operates. We know that that's one of his signature moves. Well, Kelly Oubre and Andrew Wiggins, even though Andrew Wiggins played with him, what did they play, a couple games last year, if that? I mean, Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, they're not familiar with Steph Curry's offensive play style. Yeah, maybe they've had practices and all that, but once you get into a game, especially back-to-back nights or back-to-back games where you're on national TV, you're on the big stage, and you're playing you're probably playing the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. So while they did get blown out by the Nets and the Bucks, I wouldn't worry one bit if I'm a Warriors fan. I still have the Warriors making the playoffs. I mean, the way I see it, if Steph Curry's healthy, there is just no way the Warriors don't make the playoffs. Whether it's the 8 seed, whether it's the 6 seed, whether it's the 4 seed, realistically, somewhere in between like 6th, 7th, or 8th seed is what I would project them at. But anytime you have a healthy Steph Curry, even if you hate Steph Curry, I mean, it's almost like having a healthy James Harden. You're not going to miss the playoffs. These guys are capable of winning games on their own if the role players can at least just do their jobs. Now, in the first 2 games, unfortunately for the Warriors, other than James Wiseman, who was the lone bright spot, if you ask me, in the whole Warriors team, both games, they look horrible. Like, they just look horrible. Wiggins looks horrible. Oubre looks horrible. They're playing so inefficient right now. However, there's no need to panic. Once Draymond Green comes back, this team dynamic is going to change drastically. I think personally that the whole reason the Golden State Warriors were so successful, especially before they got Kevin Durant, is because of Draymond Green. The way I see it, Draymond Green is the glue. He holds this team together. He was that X factor. He's that it factor. He brings that edge every single possession. Whether you love or hate Draymond Green, you got to admit that he can change a game in a second. He can shift momentum in 1 second. He doesn't even have to score the ball. He's defensively lethal. He can really change a game. So if the Warriors did not have Draymond Green, I would say GG's. GG's, there is no way this Warriors team does anything significant unless James Wiseman becomes, an all-NBA player in his first year. I don't think Steph Curry would be capable of carrying that team. However, you've got Draymond Green coming back. They've still got some pieces. James Wiseman looks incredible. Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins. While Andrew Wiggins, if you ask me, I'd say his career has been relatively inefficient, especially considering where he went in the draft, considering how he played in college. This is why I think I don't think college statistics mean anything. I think they mean literally nothing. I mean, Devin Booker came off the bench for Kentucky. Patrick Williams averaged 9 points per game on a team whose leading scorer was 12. College stats just don't tell the whole story. Carson Edwards, he dropped 2 30-point games in March Madness and had a 40-point game in that season. What has he done in the NBA? Absolutely nothing. So, Andrew Wiggins, while I'm bashing on him for being inefficient, he's still a good NBA player. He still has potential. He's not a big enough liability to make me think that the Warriors will suffer with him out on the court. Kelly Oubre, I just think he had a bad first two games. I think they're really, 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 really suffering with learning how to play with Steph Curry, and Draymond's only going to be helpful because he is such a leader. His voice is so prevalent. For Steph Curry, I would also not worry. It looks like he's added some muscle. He's driving to the basket more offensively. He's just getting to the rim. Now, I would also consider before this season Steph Curry being an above average defender. The reason I would say he's above average is because the media presents Steph Curry's defense as just complete liability. Like, the way the media portrays Steph Curry's defense to me is how they portrayed Isaiah Thomas's defense. Now, maybe he isn't totally above average, but I think you could I think saying he's anything but average is just ridiculous, or anything below average is just ridiculous. That's just a biased take in my opinion. Off ball, Steph Curry has only gotten better. On ball, he's only gotten better. He's just getting better. And like I said, he added some more muscle, so that's only going to help him out. He locked up Jamal Murray. We can't forget that. He even came out and said he's leading from the front on defense. And what this is going to do is it's going to give guys like Oubre and Wiggins a much-needed confidence boost. I can also guarantee you once Draymond Green is back on that court, Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre, they're only going to benefit. Now, I cannot wait for Draymond Green to return, like I'm mentioning, but I think the real secret here to the Warriors having more skill than I think everyone's giving them credit is James Wiseman. James Wiseman, first game, he played 23 minutes. Second game, he put up 25 minutes. I want to say on the season, he's averaging, 18 points per game. He looks extremely comfortable. This is a guy who played very, very, like a while ago. He has not played recently. He did not play in training camp. This dude is balling out for his age, given how little college experience he had, how little NBA experience he's had. His first two games against the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks, they were incredible. He did a great job guarding Giannis, especially in the first quarter. He had some really sloppy fouls, but that's what you're going to get with a young player who's guarding the MVP. I think he exceeded expectations. I think he is going to be a superstar. I know it's only been 2 games, but this dude looks like he's been playing in the NBA for years. He can be a spot-up shooter. He can drive at the rim. He can get defensive rebounds. He can block the ball. He's great in the pick and roll, which Steph Curry is only going to utilize. I think James Wiseman is going to be a huge key to the Warriors' season this year. And you can't tell me, or I refuse to believe that a healthy Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman, that trio, there is just no way this team misses the playoffs, if you ask me. There is just no way. That team will not miss the playoffs. I know Steph Curry isn't necessarily notorious for carrying teams. Trust me, I get on his ass too about not having any finals MVPs, and if you ask me, in the finals, I don't think he does well. In fact, I don't think he chokes under the pressure, but he definitely doesn't exceed under the pressure every single game. So, longevity, we'll see how they do in the playoffs. But the most important part's getting there. We got, 70 games left. Or is it 68? Is it a 70 or 72 game season? They've got 60 whatever games left, 70 whatever games left. They're only going to get better as the season progresses. Even off the bench, one of my favorite guys is Damian Lee. I think Damian Lee is just an absolute stud. I mean, he had a great year last year. I know the Warriors were injured for relatively the entire season. They didn't really have many other options, but to me, Damian Lee off the bench is a walking bucket. I just think that this Warriors team is only going to get better, and I got to be honest, I don't want to play, if I'm any team in the West, I mean, I said this about the Rockets too. I'd rather play the Warriors than the Rockets, but I wouldn't feel great playing the Warriors in the playoffs. I feel like by that time, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, they're all going to be on the same page. If they actually make the playoffs, which I think they will, I certainly would not call for a sweep. Even if they're playing the Los Angeles Lakers, there's just no way they get swept unless, there's some injuries. But let me know what you guys think about the Golden State Warriors this season. I'll get some more clips tomorrow. I'll do some more face videos, and I'll see you guys later.